Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the FinTech Hunting Podcast. We have not one, but we have two incredible guests for you today. They are thought leaders, social media rock stars, podcasters, videocasters. They have a wealth of industry knowledge and expertise. We can add to the list authors and more. The list could go on, but I'm going to stop right there. Not that they need an introduction, but I sure as hell hope I gave them a big one. Please help me welcome to the show Brian Vieaux, President and COO of FinLocker, and Kyle Draper, creator of Content Compounding. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Wow.
Whoa.
Michael, incredible.
Yeah. Thanks,
We're
Michael.
honored.
Well, I am honored to have you guys. You guys do have a wealth of knowledge and expertise. You've got a new book coming out, and I want to jump right in. Kyle, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
We've got the book coming out. It's Rethink Everything You Know About Being a Loan Officer. Why this book? Why now?
Gosh, this question would have been better for Brian. This book is Brian's fault. So good or bad. So Michael, what happened is I wrote a book last year called Rethink Everything You Know About Social Media.
Yep, sitting on my bookshelf right behind me, my friend.
Thank you. And right after I wrote it, I thought, I've never seen anybody challenge the book for dummies. There's hundreds of those books. They've been around since I was a kid. And I thought Rethink Everything would be a cool brand to just partner with authors that are experts at things that I'm not the expert of and just start helping people rethink everything we know about everything. And so I shared that vision with Brian, and it wasn't but a few days later that he was like, dude, why don't we write a Rethink Everything book for loan officers? And as the men of action that we are, I think like 2 days later, we already had a list of who we wanted in it. You were one of those. And we've got a book coming out here in a couple weeks. So it's pretty wild.
Wow, I love it. And I think following that Rethink Everything, it's so critical. And I love that you kind of challenge the status quo, right? Because as I talk to salespeople in the mortgage industry, whether it's lenders selling to borrowers, whether it is vendors trying to sell into the lenders, their biggest competitor right now is status quo. People sitting on the fence doing nothing.
Yep.
Brian, as you go through this book and as you guys are putting all this together, what are some of the things that jumped out to you in creating this book?
So I've been kind of on the soapbox for the last year plus talking about, the importance of leading with financial education, financial preparation from a loan officer perspective for all kinds of reasons. There's not as many people, raising their hand saying, I'm ready now. So we've all known that that it's going to take loan officers kind of building and nurturing a ongoing pipeline of consumers. And to Kyle's point, this Rethink Everything, it was like, wait a minute, this is what we're talking about. We are talking about rethinking how you build your business as a loan officer. A lot of loan officers are very reactive. They wait for someone to raise their hand and say, I'm ready. They traditionally wait for a referral from a partner, which is all great. We're not saying anywhere in the book, none of our experts have said anywhere in the book that they should stop doing those things.
Yep.
But what's cool, Michael, is what we're seeing is I think we have 38 experts who've contributed a chapter to this book. Everybody brings a different perspective. And one of our objectives with the writer was we want at least one actionable takeaway from each chapter. And I would say we crushed it because there's more than one in most chapters.
Yeah.
But the whole idea is you do have to rethink everything that you're doing in your business as a loan officer today, because the consumer is different. And there's two words that are in our book title, next gen. So it's Rethink Everything to be a next gen loan officer. And we're not talking about having to be young, because none of us can get younger. We know that. What we're talking about is mindset and action. And because the next gen and home buyer is different. They are different. We all know that. And so
without a doubt, and I think that next gen is critical. And I'm really glad you said it's not about age, because some people are like, well, I don't know. It has nothing to do with the
Yeah.
age. It's, are you willing to change your mindset and really rethink and look at and ponder? Kyle, as you've got a chance to do these interviews and you've talked to all of these people and you've had 30 podcasts in 30 days, or 38, it should be in 38 days. And you've had the opportunity to look at some of the chapters. What are some of the things that kind of surprised you the most? What are some of the things that you really say, that makes total sense of why people need to really rethink how they're doing what they're doing in the mortgage space?
Yeah. Michael, I think what really surprised me the most, more than any particular chapter, was when we asked people that we believe are at the top of the game in the mortgage world and how willing they've all been to bear it all, right? To hold nothing back, to have very poignant opinions, and nothing is sugar-coated, and nothing is protected. And so that's been really fun for me, is just looking, going, there are so many chapters in here that if any LO would pick any one of these people and go, I'm going to model my business after so-and-so, they'll be wildly successful. And so that's what I love the most about it, is just, we didn't have to go, hey, can you rewrite this and give us a little bit more? Like, this is pretty vanilla. There's really not a lot of substance here. Like, Brian and I have just kept looking at each other going, dude, this is unbelievable. And so that's, that's what has surprised me the most, is just the willingness of everyone to just give of everything that they are.
Well, and I think what you find is, in the mortgage industry, we can talk tech, we can talk strategies, but at the end of the day, it comes down to people and those relationships. And people that are in the mortgage industry really care about the industry. They want it to succeed. And to me, it's so refreshing, whether it's doing podcasts, whether it's this book project. You can reach out to so many of the people that are part of the book project and just say, hey, I wanted to learn some more about this area. Can you help me? And they're going to instantly help me. Brian caught a typo in one of my posts yesterday, just sent me a quick text and said, hey man, just wanted to give you a heads up. And I was like, thank you. Those little things of people looking out for one another are huge. And I so appreciate that. And I so appreciate working with you guys and the opportunity just to share a little bit in one chapter. Brian, you've been on both sides of the fence as an LO, and on the lending side of it. You're now on the vendor side of it. What can people that are not loan officers learn and take from the principles that you talk about in this book and apply it to their business and apply it to how they're trying to grow?
I love that question, because I was thinking about this yesterday. When we started this project, we started with a focus on an audience, and the audience was loan officers. It's in the title of the book. Can't hide it, right? But one of the things so we're at the stage of the process where we're like getting ready to push the button to publish. So we had all these chapters, and we had to figure out how to group them together. And so they ended up in I think 6 groupings. I have them up on my screen, so that's why my eyes are going to wander. So we've got a group of chapters around mindset. Mindset doesn't say, there's no word loan officer in mindset. So there's a section of this book. If you only read that section, you're going to get a really good perspective on winning mindsets. And then we have another section called the power of personal branding. It's what we do every day, all of us, even those that aren't loan officers. And so, and then we've got a section on social media and the power of social media as a way to reach prospective customers. So the way we group the chapters, I think is uncovered a value in this book beyond just the loan officer, the lending side, which is super cool. We do have a section that's dedicated to top producers who are, the best in their field and their craft, and these are loan officers, but they're sharing things that transcend beyond originating a mortgage. So I'm super excited to get feedback from readers who aren't in the loan officer business, right? And get their feedback as well.
Kyle, you're a big believer in video. That's how
Yes.
I was reading your book, and then you've got the QR codes, and then I'm like, oh, great. Hey, there's Kyle's origin story, and he was a pastor, and oh, I didn't know that. And what I found is it makes people much more relatable. So talk to me about the power of video, and then how does video and how does leaning into digital
Yeah.
enhance when you actually get a chance to meet in person?
Well, so think about this. I literally was thinking about this 5 minutes before we jumped on this podcast to record. That as much time as I spend with my wife and my kids in our home, out and about, how much of that time are we truly looking each other in the eyes? We're together, right? Like we're having conversation. My wife and I are talking at dinner, but like I've got one kid and she's got two kids, and like, we're so like there's probably not a whole lot of opportunity for her and I to truly be locked in, engaged in conversation. And that's how video works 100% of the time. When we're doing it right, when I'm doing it into the camera lens, right? I'm looking into your soul when you're watching the screen. And so in a weird way, we're creating some deeper rooted connections with people that we've never been in the same room with
Yep.
than we're possibly creating with the people we sleep in the same bed with. And I think that is the weird power of what video does, is because it touches all the senses, right? Like my brain, like Michael, we've never met in person. We're going to change that this year. Actually, I've never even met Brian in person.
Crazy.
And we're partners on this book. And so my brain doesn't know how to say, hey, I know you like them, but like don't trust them yet because this isn't real life. You don't even really know. No, my brain knows. I spent time with Michael and Brian this morning on a podcast, and we're cultivating that relationship. And so what people are missing is they're still stuck in, well, I like to be belly to belly and I like to get shoulder to shoulder with people. When the reality is my brain is computing the exact same thing right now with you two as if we were in a room together. And when that power dynamic is realized, I think more people will go, oh my gosh, why have I been neglecting this so much? Because this is truly where the power is. And so, that's why I love it so much. And I post a video right before this podcast recording. So while the three of us are hanging out, I've got content out there that's being engaged with and commented on and shared, and DMs popping into my inbox. And so it's the only form of marketing that works for me, whether I'm working or not. And so that's why I love it.
Love that. Great insights. And I think too many people look at digital or in person and they're mutually exclusive to them. And I think that's a huge mistake. And Brian, I want to touch upon it. You've been to a few conferences already this year. You and I have a number of conferences coming up. How has video enhanced those in-person meetings because you've leaned in and really started sharing yourself like Kyle talked about?
Yeah. Most recently, the Mortgage Bankers Association's Independent Mortgage Bankers Conference. That's a mouthful. Down in New Orleans, 550 registered attendees. And day one, hit the lobby, the lobby bar, the lobby area. People are coming up and like fist bumping, high fiving, hello. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know who you are. And then the first thing they say is, I love your, you put yourself out there on LinkedIn. I see all your content, blah, 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 blah. And then they I connect the dots on who they are. So, it works. And I know, Michael, you get the same thing with what you do with this podcast, FinTech Hunting, with your Monday morning, videos, motivational videos, your Thursday marketing videos. You hit the conference floor and people know who you are because they see you every Monday, every Thursday, and on this podcast. So it's powerful. It's huge.
It is. And I think, like Kyle said, they see you and you can fake it on a couple videos.
Yeah.
You can't fake it on 300, 400, 500 videos. People get a chance to see who you are. The excitement I have for the guests that come on, that's true and that's genuine. That's who I am because I am excited. every time I get a chance to talk with people like yourselves, I learn something new every time. I'm sure you guys experienced it in doing the book.
Yeah.
Just going through some of those chapters, you're like, oh, that's a cool point. I can use that. Hey, maybe I could incorporate that in my business. That is a wonderful opportunity. Talk to me a little bit more. The book's coming out in a couple of weeks. Where can people find the book? How can they get a copy? Let's make sure that everyone knows about it, because I know so many people out there are going to want to get a copy of the book, and they're going to share it with other people as they look to grow and really rethink how they're approaching, their pipeline and their growth.
It will be available on Amazon. They'll be able to just search the phrase "rethink everything," and it's going to pop up at the top. It's a green cover, and then they can also, if somebody wants to order in bulk, then Brian and I have access to a cheaper discount or a cheaper book when ordered through in bulk like that. And so if companies want 50, 100, 200, 300 books, then they can also come directly to one of us and we can help facilitate that.
I absolutely love it. As we wind down, and we could talk forever, you guys always have a wealth of knowledge and expertise. Brian, I'll start with you and then I'll bring it back to Kyle. What's something that you hope people can take away? What's a walk away with this book that you say, if somebody came up to me and said, after reading this book, this to you, you would be like, mission accomplished?
Yeah, I would say, just to kind of stay in the thread that we've been talking about here, if somebody read the book and wasn't already comfortable and confident on video, but by reading the book, they were willing to put their toe in that water and start to build that muscle, that would be huge for me. I would love to see readers showing up on Instagram and Facebook and on LinkedIn who I hadn't seen before they read the book, putting themselves out there, because I truly subscribe to this thesis that the local loan officer is the best resource for financial education as it relates to home ownership. I just, bar none, I believe that from my soul. And I think getting on video and being that resource in their physical and virtual communities is huge.
I agree completely. Kyle, what would you hope people take away from the book?
Michael, as you guys know, right, the last year, the last 14 months have really sucked for a lot of people. And so my hope is that, people will start coming up to us at conferences or texting us or DMing us and saying, thank you. This got me out of my rut. This got me out of my pity party. This filled me with fresh perspective and insight and wisdom and encouragement. And it is because of this book that I have found this renewed sense of hope and energy to go help people, right, make the biggest transaction of their life that's going to ultimately benefit future generations of their family. And so if between People Crush Video and people feel inspired and ready to go tackle 2024 and beyond, that's what I want for the book.
I love it. Guys, I can't wait till it comes out. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a very small portion of it. You guys are welcome back on this show anytime. And everyone who's listening, get ready. Check out Amazon. Keep searching. In the next couple of weeks, it will be coming out. You don't want to miss it. We're here. We want to transform the industry and we want to give back so that you guys can continue to grow your business. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being guests on this episode of the FinTech Hunting Podcast.